We're about to go on a tour of some of the most stunning structures on the face of the earth. They'd be a delight for any sightseer, but these structures all have something in common. They were built using techniques that scientists and archaeologists can't explain or for reasons they can only guess at. Is it possible that we've lost some of the building knowledge that our ancient ancestors took for granted? Watch this video and make up your own mind. Number 12. Labuan's Mystery Chimney. On the island of Labuan, East Malaysia, stands a giant chimney that might not appear particularly mysterious at first glance. It is 100 feet tall, constructed from red bricks, with a decorative frieze at the top, and features a square shape with a double-arched base, quite conventional architecturally. The true mystery lies in the purpose of its construction, hence the name Labuan's Mystery Chimney. Various theories have emerged, suggesting it could have been an unconventional lighthouse or a bell tower. The most plausible explanation, however, seems to be connected to the island's defunct coal mining industry. Labuan was once a British colony, where brick making was a common task for prisoners. Coal, essential for fueling brick kilns, was mined on the island. However, the coal industry collapsed in 1911 due to unprofitability and poor maintenance of facilities. Following this, all the brickworks were demolished, and the settlement near the island's coal point disappeared. The chimney may be the last remaining artifact of that era, though it's curious that its origin remains forgotten 120 years later. Number 11. Andromeda Theatre, in Santo Stefano Quisquina, Italy. The gorgeous backdrop of the Italian mountains provides an atmosphere to this open-air venue that few other theaters can match. It's amazing to think that the whole site is the work of just one man, Lorenzo Reina, who built it by hand over a 30-year period. Lorenzo wasn't an architect, by the way. He was a farmer. Most of the year, the only visitors to the theater are the donkeys and sheep that live on Lorenzo's land, but it opens up to the public for a few warm summer evening performances each year. What makes the site especially amazing is the fact that the 108 stone seats that make up the audience section correspond to the positions of the stars that make up the Andromeda constellation. If you were to take a picture from directly above the site, you'd see that each seat represents one corner of an 8-pointed star. Why did Lorenzo go to such lengths to make this theater reflect the sky? We have no idea. He never told anybody. Number 10. Hanging Temple. When considering locations for building a temple, the side of a sheer cliff likely wouldn't be your first choice. However, this didn't deter the builders of the Hanging Temple of Hingshan in Datong, China. Constructing such a structure would be challenging at any time, but the fact that it was accomplished in the 5th century is nothing short of astounding. The temple clings to the side of Hingshan Mountain, appearing to defy gravity itself. Despite its modest exterior, the temple comprises 40 rooms interconnected by winding passageways that delve deep into the rock. The identity of the builders remains unknown, though local legend attributes the construction to a single monk named Liao Ran in the 5th century. Although some restoration occurred at the turn of the 20th century, the temple largely remains as it was originally carved into the mountain. Intriguingly, the temple is not dedicated to a single religion. It houses Buddhist, Taoist, and Confucianist statues and carvings, with no one faith predominating. Number 9. Sarsky Kurgan. The origins of Sarsky Kurgan in Kerch, Crimea, are as enigmatic as those of the Hanging Temple. Some suggest it was built 2,400 years ago, which seems improbable given the smooth lines and pristine condition of the burial chamber within its Greek-style archway. A kurgan is typically a burial mound with a tomb covered by dirt and stones, but the Sarsky Kurgan is far more elaborate. It features a grand entrance hall fashioned from limestone, forming a long corridor that appears to belong to a more recent era. Ancient Greeks were known to inhabit this area 2,400 years ago, making them likely responsible for its creation. Unfortunately, the identity of the tomb's occupant remains a mystery, as grave robbers plundered the site long before archaeologists could investigate. Early Christian graffiti on some walls suggests that the kurgan served as a secret meeting place for the faith's early followers. Number 8. The Temple of Damanhur, hidden away in the foothills of the Alps close to Premarzo in Italy, is a network of temples collectively known as the Temple of Damanhur. You'd have every right to assume that they were ancient if you saw them, but they were built over a period of 15 years from 1978 by a team of non-architects headed up by a 28-year-old insurance broker named Alberto Aroldi. The entrance to the temples is hidden below a suburban house. The whole network was dug out of rock without any plans being drawn up, and the existence of the temples was kept secret until the work was finished. It ought to have been impossible, and yet here these beautiful psychedelic temples are. Even now, the network is considered to be unfinished. New passageways and rooms are being added to the complex every year. Even though it's called a temple, this isn't a religious site. Alberto Aroldi and his followers consider it to be a temple to humankind rather than a temple to the gods. Although some people consider the group responsible for Damanhur to be a cult, Alberto insists that he and his friends are harmless, and they simply enjoy creating great works of art and architecture. Number 7. Maiden Tower in Baku. Azerbaijan is rich with fairy tales and legends about the Maiden Tower in Baku, but none seem to reveal the true origin and purpose of this ancient structure. Located in Baku's old walled city, the Maiden Tower is its oldest structure. Its exact age and original name remain a mystery, though most educated guesses place its construction in the 12th century. However, the stones of the first 3 stories differ significantly from those of the upper levels, suggesting the lower sections could be 2,500 years old or more. This would make the tower older than Islam, indicating it might have been a Zoroastrian religious site or an observatory, as the stone protrusions align with the lunar cycle. The name Maiden Tower stems from a legend about a king's daughter who leaped to her death from its top to avoid an arranged marriage, but there is no historical evidence to support this tale. Number 6. Family of menhirs. Many visitors to the menhirs in A Coruña, Spain, mistakenly believe they are ancient megaliths. In reality, they are modern works of art created by contemporary artist Manolo Paz, who is still alive today. These sculptures are known either as the family of menhirs or menhirs for peace. According to Paz, they are positioned to overlook Spain's northern coast and the Atlantic Ocean, offering a sense of meditative hope to onlookers. The granite blocks feature holes for visitors to peer through, providing a unique perspective on the surrounding views. The menhirs are arranged in pairs of tall and short rocks, symbolizing parents and children gazing out to sea. Some stones are strategically placed to frame views of the Tower of Hercules, but most face directly towards the ocean. Number 5. Obelisk of Agvan. While the menhirs for peace are modern structures that look like older ones, the Obelisk of Agvan in Armenia is every bit as ancient as it looks. This is a most unusual obelisk, and that's not just because of its unique double stele arrangement. You'll find it on the grounds of the basilica in Agvan, but the obelisk is thought to predate the basilica by several centuries. One side of the structure is covered in carvings from both the Old and New Testament, perhaps commemorating Armenia's transition to accepting Christianity. The other is decorated with floral patterns. Ideas about when it was built vary, but the most popular theory is that it was built as a statement of defiance by the Christian side of a conflict with Hindus that briefly escalated into war here during the 4th century. Another theory, based on the presence of the floral patterns, is that this is a monument intended to represent the losses suffered by both sides in that war. The basilica was presumably added at a later date when Christianity was accepted in the country more easily. Number 4. Mojave megaphone. The Mojave megaphone is aptly named. It resides in the Mojave Desert and resembles a megaphone. However, deciphering its purpose remains a perplexing challenge. This peculiar metal structure is securely bolted to 2 rocks atop a hill near Baker, California, and is constructed from thick strips of welded iron. Its origin and meaning are unknown. Some speculate it resembles an antenna or a drum, while others theorize it might be a secret weapon. Interestingly, some military experts suggest it could have been an amplifier for a siren used to alert locals during U.S. military weapon tests in the desert. Despite these theories, the military has never confirmed any involvement or purpose for the installation. Its exact age is also uncertain, with some California residents insisting it has been there for over a century. Number 3. Lost gold. Almost every region of every country in the world has local legends about lost gold or treasure buried deep below the ground somewhere in the area. If you live close to Baguio in the Philippines, that treasure is the lost gold of General Yamashita, and the most likely place for it to be hiding is somewhere within the city's Japanese tunnels. Most of these tunnels, built by invading Japanese forces during the Second World War, have been thoroughly explored and mapped out, but there are still gaps in the maps and places nobody's been able to reach. That keeps alive the possibility that the looted gold procured by those forces under the command of General Yamashita Tomoyuki is still down there in the dark waiting to be found. The entrance to the tunnels is in the Baguio Botanical Garden, but visitors should beware. The tunnels are pitch black and incredibly humid and can be dangerous to visit without a guide. The official reason for the construction of the tunnel network was to store military supplies, so you might not find anything other than a few old bullet casings and discarded helmets. Still, you never know. Number 2. Devil's Hole. Venturing deep into the woods to find Devil's Hole Creek might sound intimidating, but for those undeterred by the name, the Devil's Hole ruins in Cresco, Pennsylvania, USA, offer a fascinating sight. Despite its ominous moniker, the ruins are quite picturesque and are more likely the remnants of a speakeasy or a ski lodge than anything related to satanic rituals. The site likely once housed a grand building before it fell into disrepair. Large double fireplaces, a water boiler, and a coal furnace are still visible among the ruins. The construction methods used for the walls suggest a build date in the 1920s or 1930s, supporting the theory that this was an illegal speakeasy. This would also explain its secluded location and subsequent abandonment after the legalization of alcohol in 1933, which rendered the speakeasy obsolete. Number 1. Underground City. Turkey boasts more underground cities than most countries, and Kokle Underground City in Nevşehir province stands out as one of the most impressive. This extensive subterranean complex, dating back 4,000 years, has hosted millions of people over the centuries. Kokle features a series of large chambers, including living quarters, winemaking facilities, and stables for horses. Its storage spaces remain so efficient that they are still in use today. The original purpose of the city remains speculative, but it is known to have sheltered various religious communities fleeing persecution over the centuries. Today, there is significant curiosity among the Turkish public about what lies in the city's lower levels. While Kokle has 8 floors extending deep underground, only the upper 4 floors are accessible to visitors.